to top colleges and universities over the world, around the world, UK, US, Canada, Ireland, Australia, Dubai, and so on, giving students flexible opportunity to choose their study destinations. So we've been working with many of these pathways for years, and we are very passionate about what we do, and the students, our parents' concerns, our concerns as well. So we had planned to have a fair in March, but we canceled the fair because of the pandemic. And like Marie rightly stated, we had so many uncertainties that came with the pandemic, and there are questions that parents are asking. And we thought that it's a very good opportunity to put every stakeholder in this, to get a forum where we have the stakeholders together, so you can ask, they can ask the questions and you can answer the questions. Because as it is now, nobody knows what is happening in fall. We don't know whether there will be face-to-face or whether there will be online. If there's going to be online, what is the format? So the parents are very curious to know. And so I'm not going to waste your time, because as I said, we have so many people and I don't know how we're going to manage the time, but God will help us. Thank you for listening. And Marie, can you go?
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we don't have an order as to which panelist will present first. So if you don't mind, I'm sort of just going to choose randomly. So if we could please have Amy from Kaplan International Pathways present first. So sorry, Amy.
Oh, sure, no worries, no worries at all. No, hi everybody. My name is Amy Van Dielen. I'm the Associate Director for Application Management for Kaplan International Pathways, working more so with our US partner universities. Those include Arizona State University, Pace University, Simmons University, University of Tulsa, and Northeastern University. So work really closely with the university partners, working through the application processes and those types of initiatives. One thing to touch on for the COVID response in the US, what we're starting to see, and as shown by the very recent announcement from Arizona State University, is that many universities and our partner universities are moving towards planning for on-campus, in-person instruction, but understanding that due to different visa embassy closures and visa delays, those types of situations, border closings, it's just a myriad of reasons that international students may or may not be able to arrive in time for the fall start. To accommodate this, they're providing a combination. So they would still have on-campus, in-person classes available for those that are able to arrive in time. But if you're not, then the students would be able to take remote classes and join those classes. And it depends on the course. It could be real time if the time zones align with that, or it could be that it is more recorded type lectures and the students are accessing the content that way. Then once the students are able to move on campus or to arrive on campus, then they would transition more to those in-person type of classrooms. So that's the type for instructional wise for our partner universities that they're moving towards, and our other US partner in the US, we see them moving towards a similar way as well. I'm happy to provide additional information, but I know time is tight, so I'm happy to move on to the next person as well.
Thank you so much, Amy. Your presentation was short and sweet, very concise. And to be honest, that's really why we're here, to gain insight into what the forthcoming plans are for 2020. Yes, like you mentioned, I mean, currently in Nigeria, we have the international flight ban. So basically, yes, students have that issue. We don't know when they're going to be able to travel abroad. The American embassy in the country is also currently closed. We don't know when this will reopen. We don't know when visas will be processed. We also don't know how long it would take for visas to be processed and attended to. So yes, it's good to know that for students in that boat, they have the option of starting fall 2020 programs virtually, and once they're able to travel to the States, they will be able to resume with on-campus instruction. So thank you very much for that. If we could please have Ikena from Navitas to present next. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And hello guys, and it's great to be here. And I'm here with my colleague, Fadi. So most likely we're going to talk together so that we can obviously save some time because Navitas as a whole, we are a pathway provider with numerous, pathway universities cut across Canada, United States, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. But we're going to just talk about out of North America, and Fadi is a marketing manager for International College Manitoba and Fraser International College in Vancouver, British Columbia. So I'll briefly talk about Navitas, and Fadi will possibly just talk a little bit about the online or remote learning options we have available in our Canadian universities, and I can now recap on our US offerings. So for Navitas, we are definitely flexible, and we have we've responded to the pandemic by obviously having a robust digital campus. We successfully had the summer intake at our Canada campuses fully online, and we had very huge attendance from existing students who completely accepted joining online. We had very good numbers of students that refused or didn't want to differ. So that was a very good indication that this is going to be the future. And remote learning has very good advantages for students, both in Nigeria and West Africa, because they have the advantage of continuing their studies, still being on track, and even if borders do not open, they are going to be finishing their programs in the stipulated time of either 4 years or depending on their program. In Navitas, for US and Canada, borders are closed. For Nigeria, we're having possibly a reopening in Ghana for next week. The VFS office is going to be opening. So that's a very good update for those that are recruiting in Ghana. And we are going to just keep on monitoring the situation, but it's most likely that we will have a blended study for September, depending on how restrictions play out. If it's going to be a full open border, our flights going to happen, or if we still have lockdowns, then we're sure that students will still enjoy the remote learning that we're already offering. We have a digital campus, and the great advantage Navitas has is the support. We pride ourselves with the smaller class size, ongoing support to students. So we are going to move it to the digital campus, and we turn the digital campus to mimic the experience, students will experience if they were physically on campus. So the student advising, the counseling, everything is going to be moved online. Students can actually, interact with their supervisors, their teachers, their friends, counselors, just like they can go into the offices on campus. They will have time slots to be able to book appointments and stuff like that. And the interesting part of what our digital campus is going to be made of is we're going to have social events, not just all academics, social events, students coming together to have, the fun things that they enjoy doing in the campus, just, bring forth that campus experience. And above all, we're going to have just the synchronous and asynchronous mode of learning, trying to put into consideration the time zones for, different countries we recruit. So if students can't join, the, synchronous model or the synchronous mode, they can always view the recording. So a very robust campus that we have put forward all across the Navitas pathway in different countries. And Fadi is going to come specifically to, talk about those available in ICM and FIC. Fadi, over to you.
Thank you, Ikenna. Good morning from Canada. So yes, as Ikenna did a great job explaining what Navitas is planning on doing. I'll take the Navitas Canada angle, I guess. So we have moved online for a reason, and we moved online very quickly in March, I would say, and then we moved online for our May intake, and then we decided to continue staying online in our digital campus for September. And the big reason there, as you kind of stated, is we're not sure when borders are going to open. We're not sure when students' borders are going to open, when our borders are going to open. We're optimistic, but we don't want students to have a gap in their study. And so taking the entire campus digitally, and especially for our university partners, whether it's Simon Fraser University or University of Manitoba, they've taken these similar steps. So everything will be online. We're still encouraging students that are applying for Canadian visas to still apply for Canadian visas. Every indication that we've gotten from that end is that there is a long queue for visa processing, but students should not stop applying for visas, so they should continue. The Canadian government announced not too long ago now that they are extending the time needed to do your medicals and to do biometrics, so that's a positive sign from our end. I feel like I'm speaking for all of Canada here when we're saying our government has really focused on international students and is working and focusing on bringing students in person as soon as possible. But from our end, from our pathways and our partners that we work with, and across the country, we've moved to a digital campus in September just to provide students a continuation of their studies. So from the students that are currently studying online with us, they really enjoy it. As you kind of said, it's synchronous and asynchronous, so there are live classes. There is a recorded component. We have activities going on. When I was in the office, when we were working in the office, you would see all these activities happening weekly. That's still going on. So it's going online. So we've all moved online. We're all working from home, but we're here to support our students. So I'm excited to see what everyone else is doing. And thank you for having us on this panel.
Thank you very much, Ikenna and Fadi, for your in-depth presentations. So, I mean, yes, we from the gist of what you've both mentioned, you're running a digital campus, and it's great to know that your current students have, adapted to this transition seamlessly. You've received positive feedback, and you see them engaging and participating in their online classes. Another thing that you both mentioned was on the different time zones. So we know that your colleges in the different countries are very diverse. And so, you have a diverse student body. So obviously you have some students who went back to their home countries when the pandemic began. And, there would have been the challenge of, how do I take my classes on my own time zone? So it's great that you have that option of pre-recorded classes, so that they're still able to continue with their programs on their own individual time zones. So yes, a concern that parents have is, will my child have the same student campus experience, academic support, welfare support, online, as opposed to if they were studying on a face-to-face curriculum. But it's great to know that you have a robust and a strong, balanced program of co-curricular activities and, your study programs. So thank you both. We're now going to move on to Abiodun from Oxford International Pathways.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Nubia Education, for putting this together. My name is Abodunri. I represent Oxford International Education Group as the Regional Manager for West Africa. So basically supporting students and all of our agents through the application process and whatever they may need for their visa, counseling, credibility interviews as well. So for us at Oxford International, we were able to move all of our programs for current and prospective students online almost immediately when the pandemic started. And we are going to be continuing that way for September. Although we're still recruiting for September and hoping that students will be able to resume in person, considering the fact that some visa application centers will be opening up by ending of this month. So we are hoping students can apply for their visas as normal, but if in a case where students can't resume because of visas delay or they're not comfortable traveling yet, there's an option for them to start online in September and then continue so they start online in October and then they can travel after one term of their foundation program or the international year one or the pre-master's program. And if they're not comfortable starting online, because in as much as all of our students are happy with the online option, some students unfortunately struggle with it for various reasons. So if they're still not comfortable doing online, we have a separate intake in November. Hopefully by then things would have, borders would have opened up, we'll be more certain of what we can offer students. So we have that for a November start, and we also have a January start. So currently what we're preaching to our students is a year-round start. If you can't travel or you can't make it in September, there's the online start in October, and there's another start in November and another one in January. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abiodun. So just jumping on, you mentioning that you're offering multiple intakes,
Yes.
I believe that, yes, that's a very good solution. So if students are not able to travel, in September or October, it's good that, well, fingers crossed, the outbreak would have died down by November. So it's good that they won't have to wait till January, to begin their program. So that's a very good initiative on Oxford International Pathways side. Okay then, so we're now gonna move on to Laura Nye from Into Pathways.
Sure, thank you, Anne-Marie. I just wanna share my screen. I like visuals. And give me 1 second.
Yes, we can see your screen already. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction and thank you for hosting today. I know I was present on Wednesday and I thought that session went well as well. My name is Laura Nye and I am the US Specialist at Into University Partnerships. I work specifically with students and agents in Sub-Saharan Africa and I'm located in Nairobi, Kenya. So within Intu's network of universities, we have 11 universities within our portfolio that offer both direct entry and pathway options for admission. So I would be doing a huge disservice to the US partners if I attempted to talk about each of them within 10 minutes. So I'm only going to focus on Oregon State, but I do just want to reiterate that for our university partners for newbie, their direct entry and for pathway, at both the graduate and the undergraduate level. And it's important to understand that the pathway runs parallel to direct entry, meaning it will not take you longer to finish your degree if you begin with the pathway. And the benefits of a pathway are many, including less rigid entrance requirements. There's no SAT, no ACT, no GRE, no GMAT test that's required. And you can join a research-intensive university whereby your first term or academic year, you'll be in a smaller classroom and be supported by faculty and staff to ensure that you start off on the right foot. So like I said, in the interest of time, I'm only going to talk about Oregon State, but you can see the map of where all of our universities are located. And Oregon State is this orange state in the Pacific Northwest, or the top left corner of the map. All right. And Oregon State is in Corvallis. You guys can read the slide, so I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that. But like I said, it's in the orange state in the map on the now on the upper right side of the slide. But the campus is about a 4-hour drive from Seattle, Washington, or a little over a 1-hour drive south of Portland, Oregon. To the Canadian border, it's about a 6-hour drive to Vancouver. So Oregon State has the largest engineering program in Western US. It has more bachelor's degrees and master's degree programs in engineering than Stanford, the University of California, Berkeley, or the University of Washington in Seattle. And Oregon itself is ranked in the top 10 for being one of the most innovative states in the US, and it's home to Nike headquarters. So any Nike sweatshirts or tennis shoes that you have didn't come from Corvallis or Beaverton, Oregon, but the headquarters is located there. If you enjoy the outdoors with a major city within a drivable distance, this is a great place to be. Corvallis itself is ranked as one of the safest college towns in the US. Cost of attendance for Oregon State is about $45,000 per year, and that includes the tuition fees, housing, and meals, and scholarships vary, but are usually up to about $10,000 per year. That's for undergraduate, and then for postgrad, the tuition is going to vary depending on what program you're taking. OSU's online learning program is called eCampus, and it's been around since 2002. It's considered the Ivy League of e-learning and has essentially set the standard with the quality assessments that have been done. As we're going through COVID or other uncertainties, as my colleagues have said, online learning is part of a new normal and maybe the way that the direction is headed. So for students enrolling at OSU in the fall 2020 or winter 2021 intake, they can start their courses online to stay on track if they're not able to get a visa appointment in time or to travel to campus in time. All right, and so regardless if students apply for direct entry or pathway at Oregon State, all international students are provided comprehensive support and services to ensure their success in their first terms on campus. So Intu's university partners are very well known with their hands-on face-to-face programs on campus. Some of our universities have also designed highly ranked e-learning programs and have been offering online degrees for many years. And specifically, like I said, Oregon State is number 4, Colorado State is a partner and they're ranked number 11. UAB is University of Alabama at Birmingham is 20. Illinois State and Washington State are tied and ranked at 23. So we kind of have some Ivy League of online programs or online courses offered at our universities. So all of our university partners are working with Intu centers to develop courses that pair the most appropriate e-learning style, and you'll see on the screen synchronous and asynchronous and synchronous, and kind of the benefits of both of those. And combining these is essentially to maximize engagement and academic excellence. So we've blended the two e-learning styles and taking the best from each of the strategies. So students are set up to succeed in this new e-learning environment, and all centers offer full synchronous live support. All right. And then in terms of what Intu is doing, we are offering for fall 2020, spring 2021, or Oregon State, it would be winter 2021 and spring 2021 intakes because they're on a term, not a semester. But we are offering students a triple guarantee. So students who have already been admitted or have offers or have already confirmed their enrollment at any of our universities, we're offering students the opportunity to replace their on-campus course with an online course if you're not able to secure a visa or travel in time to the beginning. You can defer your intake to the next start date, or you can get a refund for the program if prepayments have been made. And we are encouraging students who already have offers to go with the first option of replacing their on-campus and joining online if they can, if they have the financial means and the technology to support the online learning. So our universities are still accepting applications for the pathway programs for fall 2020, and scholarships are still available. And those who haven't, those who have been a direct entry, or again, some of our universities are still accepting applications for direct entry. If they cannot travel to campus, then they can join online. If they can travel to campus, and certain states will have different quarantine or self-isolation rules, but students can do a hybrid whereby they're joining some classes in person and some classes they would be doing sitting from their dorm room, essentially. All right. And yeah, that's it. So I'll give it back to you now, Anne-Marie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laura. So just jumping on the triple guarantee scheme that is being rolled out at OSU. I mean, yes, for families, they just, I guess, I mean, the pandemic has caused such a disruption to everybody's lives, and so individuals are just fearful. I mean, it's a stressful time for a lot of families, and just being able to have an alternative option, does a whole lot of good. So of course, we don't want any students asking for a refund, of prepaid deposits or fees, etc. But it's good that they have the option of deferring to a later intake, or switching to the hybrid learning program of virtual learning, if you're not able to travel to the States, and then later on resuming with on-campus instruction.
Yeah, let me add one quick thing. The best part of the online learning right away is that you don't need a visa.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You can join your classes, get started, and then once you are able to book an appointment and go, we will provide you with a new I-20 and an updated transcript. So you can show the visa counselor, hey, I'm already taking classes, or I've completed one semester. And I think that helps the counselor feel a little bit more secure in saying, okay, this student is has the good intention of enrolling and finishing their degree. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Laura. So we're now going to move on to Theo from Study Group.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, 1 minute. Hi, everyone. My name is Theodore Garabedian. I am the Associate Recruiting Manager for Study Group's UK centers and Europe centers. I'm in charge of the Sub-Saharan region. I've been to Nigeria many times, really. I would like to first apologize if you hear any noise. Just my niece and nephews are downstairs. We're all working from home, so I'm really apologize for that. So I'm going to head straight away to the core reel of the presentation. Now, actually, I had a whole presentation prepared, but given that the time is limited, right, I'm just going to go quickly through just presenting Study Group and essentially what we're offering, especially during the Corona time. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. If you give me a minute, sorry for that. Yeah, okay, there you go. Just tell me when you can see it, right? 1 second, sorry for that. Do you see the screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so Study Group essentially is one of the largest pathway provider worldwide, and what we offer is about 47 universities, including UK, Holland, Ireland, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Now, I want to present UK and Europe, so obviously those are my favorite centers. So amongst these centers, we have 17 universities in the UK, 4 in Holland, and 1 in Ireland. Now, if you have a look here at the actual universities, we have a few of them who are part of the Russell Group, which is sort of like the research-intensive universities. I mean, for example, Oxford and Cambridge are part of that same group. So we have Cardiff, we have Sheffield, we have Leeds. So we have quite a few universities that are part of the Russell Group, and of course Durham. Sorry. Now, in terms of what are we offering now, obviously because of the coronavirus and so I'm going to quickly stop sharing my screen so I can put another presentation. Yeah, because of the coronavirus and everything that's happening, currently our courses are online. So we had a May intake and really a February, March intake. Now all of them are online, and even the students who are from September have obviously moved into online. So what does that mean? I mean, for now, we are online as of now, but depending how the situation changes, obviously, just as any of you, we're following the news, we're seeing what's going on. If the borders open up, if it is safe to do so, then we are prepared to move back on campus, but we will offer some sort of a blended course. So, for example, let's say the UK opens up, right, and the borders are open, and the government decides, yeah, you can study on campus. Now, many countries will maybe not have the borders open, or you're not free to travel, or even parents are uncomfortable with the fact you're going to travel to another country during the pandemic. So what we're offering is both solutions, right? Both scenarios. You can start online and then you can continue on campus, or you can just start on campus if you want to travel to the UK and start there. But that obviously is conditional upon the regulations of the UK. For now, the course is online. Now, what I really want to emphasize here is even if the course is online, really when you go to university, the whole point is for you to actually, when you go to a foundation, the whole point is to go to a bachelor's, or even when you go to a pre-master's, is to go to your master's degree, right? Now, keeping in mind that a foundation, a pre-master or international one is a stepping stone towards your bachelor's or your master's, we will get you there. That's what we're trying to say. So even if you do your, let's say even your full foundation online, the point is upon completion of this foundation, you will actually still progress to your bachelor's or your master's. So that there's absolutely no difference in terms of that. In terms of, for example, let's say the course content has not changed. It's just being delivered online. Now I'm gonna give you a bit more details of how it's delivered online. So we have a virtual learning environment, right, where obviously students have access to everything they would need. So for example, the online library, which is the library of the university. So a good example is, let's say you're studying at Sheffield. You're not only accessing the books for foundations, you can also access books for the actual university. So that there's no difference in terms of that. So in terms of number of hours of classes, that is completely the same. You'll have the same amount of classes. In fact, I'm gonna share my screen right there again, just to show you that part, if you don't mind. I don't want to take too much time, I know, but this is an example of what a timetable looks like when you do an online course. Can you all see?
Yes,
can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just an example, right, of what an online course looks like. I mean, what the timetable looks like. We really made it as a timetable just to make you feel like you're on campus. Now, keep in mind, this is just a curricular activity, right? But we obviously have something called building a student community. So when you go to a university, the whole point is you're there to study, yes, you're there to get the experience, but you also want to get the student experience, right? So this is just an example. What you call virtual drop-ins is that every week on the same day, for instance, you'll have different classes. They'll teach. So for example, we have something like a virtual museum where every week they'll take you to a different museum around the town you're in, and just to make you visit it. And that's the student community thing. So you also have, for example, virtual gym classes, dry crafts, arts, all of that. This is all offered as part of our online system, right? So you really are going to get as close to the experience as we can, obviously. And again, when things go back to normal, then by all means, you'll be able to go on campus. What I really also want to emphasize is just as some of the colleagues said before, there are a few advantages of online classes. So first of all, when I was in university and you had to take notes, you really had to listen to every lecture, right, and take notes. Now, when the course is online, on your VLE, so first of all, you have asynchronous, like they said, so the pre-recorded classes and synchronous classes, where it's literally live sessions. And by the way, we have them for different time zones, different live sessions for different time zones, and recorded sessions. What that means is you can just literally pause or rewind the professor talking, and you'll get the same information. So that really helps students. Second part, obviously, is the visa. No visa is required. Third part is we are more flexible on entry requirements. Now, we know, I'll give you an example. We know that the WAEC in Nigeria has been postponed, and we don't know when it's going to start again. So what we have offered is that we will take you provisionally based on your, for example, first semester results or last year's results, or we will also take you based on your mock exams. Some schools have done mock exams, WAEC mock exams. We will accept that too. For the time being, if the course is online. Obviously, once everything returns on campus, things might change. Now, I'll just give you a quick example of what we're offering. So this is for the English tests, right? As you can see here on the screen, for the English test, we offer a range of different tests accepted. So we know that IELTS centers are closed. So what we're offering you instead is, for example, Duolingo, TOEFL, IBT Home Edition. We also, it's not written here, but the IELTS indicator test, which is rather new. So all that you can do from your actual home. We also are accepting students who have done WAEC, who've already completed WAEC, and taking them with a grade of C4 in English will exempt them from doing the IELTS exam. But once you go to the UK, you'll have to do an IELTS UKVI for visa purposes. Unless you complete, for example, the full year foundation, then obviously when you progress to the university, that might be different. So that's just some of the things we're doing. The last thing I want to give some assurance on is our refund policy. What does that mean? It means that once you make the payment, let's say you make it, I don't know, next week or something. So then the course starts in September. In September, you're going to have 21 days to try the course. So when we say 21, sorry, I'm just trying to go through. Yeah, so you're going to have 21 days to actually try the course. If within these 21 days you're happy with the course, you continue ahead. You're not happy with the course, you think that you can't study online, you can either defer to next intake, which is January or next September, or we refund you the full money into your account. So that is an option that we're also offering students. When it comes to visa, obviously we offer partial refunds still, what you call visa refund guarantee. I am not going to go through that because as you can see here, it's quite a lengthy document of what conditions you have to meet in order to get a partial refund for the visa policy. Now, the last thing I really want to focus on, I don't want to take too much time, I think I have a few minutes, very little time left, is our Prepare for Success program. Now, what is Prepare for Success? Because the course is going to start, if the course starts online, and because we know students, many of you are not used to the UK curriculum, what we're offering is a 100-hour online free course, provided, for example, you make the payment. When I say payment, it means deposit and first installment before the 22nd of June. We can look at extending the date, but so basically what's going to happen with that is that you're going to have 100-hour, which starts in June, which is 10 sessions, where you're going to cover academic skills, English language, cultural skills. This is all even before your foundational pre-master starts, and that's completely free. There's no payment required. It's a month-long course, 10 sessions, and you're going to be learning. It's going to prepare you for the actual foundational pre-masters. So as you can see here, cultural skills, English skills, all of that. Now each course will include prepare, learn, practice, reflect, and extend. So again, it's going to keep you busy during summer, that's for sure. And this is just an example of exactly what you're looking at: academic listening, speaking, reading, writing. But we're also offering this: extracurricular activities, online gyms, for example, teaching instruments, songwriting, photojournal film club, 3D visual arts, and all of that. That is all included in our Prepare for Success program, which starts in end of June until July. We can always look at changing somewhat of the dates, but this is what you're looking at. That's about it for me.
Thank you so much, Theo. So yes, something that I noted down during your presentation was that, you accurately stated that the WAEC exam in Nigeria has been postponed. The new date has not been formally announced, so we don't know when students will be able to take their exams. And it's very reassuring to know that a study group is going to, provide provisional acceptance to students. Is that for your online program?
Yes, I mean,
yes.
This is to be honest with you, we're going to give you a bit more details on that. For online programs, yes. Now, for the actual on-campus programs, we're still discussing it. You'll have an update very, very soon. We're just confirming it at the moment, but normally, because even if the course is online or on campus, the fact still remains that the WAEC is not going on for now, right?
Exactly.
So probably it will stay the same. We'll still accept the WAEC based on previous semester results. However, let me just confirm to you a bit later once we know a bit more details.
That's fine. Thank you so much, Theo. So
No problem.
We're now going to move on to our last panelist for today, and that's Bertha Banda, who's representing University of East London.
Hi everyone, good afternoon, and thank you so much Nubi Education for providing this platform for us to be able to share what's happening across the board in terms of higher education. And thank you to all the parents, students that are in attendance. Hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions. So my name is Bertha Banda and I'm the International Officer here at the University of East London in London, UK. And we work in partnership with Malvern House, who is our foundation provider. So any students that are coming via the foundation pathway, they'll come through Malvern House, and my colleague Laide, who is based in Lagos, Nigeria, looks after students within that region as well. Okay, so first and foremost, obviously COVID-19 has, taken us all by surprise. And it's just been amazing to see the institution, how the students, how the members of staff have actually adapted with the situation. So from March time, when things got really, really bad across the UK, we immediately moved to online teaching. So all our current students had to move to e-learning, and that's been at first, we had some teething issues, but I'm glad to report that all of that has now been sorted and students are enjoying the online platform. So in terms of moving forward to the September intake, I'm really delighted to announce that our international, we're still open for business for the September intake. And as a careers-led university, we're really happy to announce that we're launching an innovative dual delivery model that will basically empower students to thrive in the new age of digital learning. So what does this mean? What does the dual delivery actually mean? So we've basically invested in what we're calling a central learning lab that will completely change the way students approach learning and engagement in this fourth industrial revolution. And this platform will basically provide learning sessions for students who can attend online, on campus, as well as online. So we'll have both online attendance for campus activity as well as online. So online and on campus dual delivery. And basically this will allow the students to move freely from online to on campus. And students will not only have access to state-of-the-art campus facilities, but will also have access to digitally connected seminar rooms, labs, simulation suites, and hangout spaces to mirror their current online experiences. So we're doing this dual delivery system, which, as you can tell, is very, very exciting. So what does it actually mean for the students? What are some of the benefits that the students will have with this dual delivery? So one, it's basically the best of both worlds approach for the students. So, the student is basically in control of their student life. So if they want to come and study on campus, they'll have that approach available to them. But if they want to have their studies online, that will also be available to them. And two, due to this dual delivery learning approach, students will also have a personalized learning experience. And number three, they'll be able to meet and make friends for life, either face-to-face on campus or online from the start of their program. And four, they'll be able to connect and engage and have more time with their personal tutors. And obviously support is key for our international students, and that extra time for them to be able to kind of approach their tutors, all that will be in place for our students to be able to access those facilities with our current academics. And five, outstanding careers and wellbeing support, both online and face-to-face. So we're really encouraging students to continue applying, continuing to pay the deposits. And obviously at the moment, our compliance team is working really, really hard and really, really closely with the UKVI. So as soon as we get the green flag to be able to issue CASs, etc., we'll be able to inform, all our partners, all our agent networks as to what's happening with us at the University of East London. So at the moment, as we speak, we've seen an increase compared to this time last year. We've actually seen an increase in the number of deposits that are being paid. So it's a very, very positive outcome that we're experiencing here at the University of East London. Even in uncertain times, parents, students are still engaging. I've had about 1 or 2 students that have actually asked me about deferring to the September 2021 intake, but the vast majority of our students that have applied are still, engaging with us. They're still keen and happy to be able to come and study with us in September. So we're continuing to obviously move forward with that momentum. And obviously, should anything change, we'll be able to kind of communicate all of that information to our students, our agents, and all our key stakeholders. Okay, so I understand time is of the essence, so I'll stop there and allow time for Q&A.
Thank you very much, Bertha. So something I picked on whilst you were presenting was that, your institution is being proactive with providing well-being support to students. So, it's not only about academics. You need, support from your tutors, etc., from the academic faculty, to really navigate these uncertain times. So it's just great. It's great to hear, and it will be reassuring for families and students, to know that they're not in this alone, and the relevant team member will always be there, to extend a listening ear or lend a helping hand. Thank you so much. So I'd like to say thank you to all of our panelists. You all stuck to the 10-minute allotted time for your presentations. You kept your presentations very concise and very straight to the point, and we thank you for that. So now we're going to move on to the Q&A session. I've been receiving questions privately, so I'm just going to go ahead and state the first question. I'd also like to say that I'm not directing the questions to any specific panelists, so you're all welcome to just give a shout out if you would like to address the question. Okay, this first question is most applicable to the institutions in North America, in the US to be specific. So with regards to the ongoing protests and instability in the US, we've received inquiries from parents as to whether America is a safe study destination for their sons, so if anybody could please just provide some input on this. Hi, okay, did you want me to repeat the question?
Anne-Marie, sorry, is this specific to North America, did you say?
Yes. So, okay. Well, to be honest, I mean, we have been getting, I mean, there have been some protests in London, with regards to the Black Lives Matter movement. So, yes, I mean, there's been a bit of uproar in the UK. So if you could please, answer the question, on behalf of what's going on in the UK as well. So would you say that London is a safe study destination for a young Black male student?
Yes, of course, yes, it's a safe destination. I'm happy to also report that most of the protests across the UK have been mostly safe. So there's not been riots, looting, vandalism, all of that negative vibe that, comes with a protesting. So the majority of the protests here have been very, very peaceful. And what we've seen at the University of East London in particular is, the way the university has basically embraced the Black Lives Matter. And, for our sub-Saharan students, obviously when they come here, they are Black, they're Black students. And so, well, the majority of them. So, it's been really amazing for us and for me to report that the University of East London is definitely embracing equality, diversity. No student is or a member of staff is having to feel like, under pressure or, feel no one's being subjected to feel, prejudiced or, yeah, so we're basically just really going hard in terms of supporting our students. Obviously, this affects our current Black students as well. So there's been a space for students and members of staff to be able to discuss these issues because, yeah, they're very much in the media and at everybody's mind. So we've been giving students and members of staff a place to breathe, to be able to air some of their concerns. And the university, the Vice Chancellor has been able to address this issue and really just reinforcing the statement that, every student matters. Every student should be treated respectfully and race shouldn't be a factor of how somebody should be treated. So that's my take on that one.
Thank you so much for your input, Bertha. So if we could please have a representative of a US institution also give their take on the current situation in the States and whether America is a safe destination for Black male students.
Yeah, I will jump in. I started talking right away and then realized I was on mute. So sorry about that.
That's fine.
I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that what's happening in the US with the protests, but also with the death of George Floyd, you know, that is definitely put the US in the news more. Minneapolis, Minnesota happens to be my hometown, so this hits especially hard for me. But I think around the United States, people are ready for change. You know, talking with my family and my friends who are still within Minneapolis right now and around the US, I mean, they are saying that this feels much different. This is the start of something big. And, you know, students and people of color will be, I think, accepted and part of making the United States a better and safer place for everyone. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of Into, I speak on behalf of myself as a person, but I know that our colleagues on the panel as well would agree that their centers and their universities are standing for creating safe and diverse and thriving international student environments and communities for their students. So I still firmly believe in the value of a US education. I've worked in US higher ed for more than a decade. I've lived in Kenya since 2016. I've helped hundreds of Kenyan students successfully enroll at US universities, and every one of them is safe. So, you know, I also believe, and this might sound cliche, I also believe that there are way more good people in this world than there are bad people in this world. And these things can happen anywhere. It is incredibly unfortunate, but I also, again, I believe that this is the start of something bigger and better, and the shove that the United States needs in order to realize their unfortunate past and the history and become a better, more accepting country and community. So that's my take on it.
Thank you so much, Laura. I would like to apologize to Abiodun of Southampton. I am so sorry that I left you out of the presentation. So please, could we have you present on your foundation pathway program at Southampton? Please accept my deepest apologies.
Oh my. That's fine. That's okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks to Nubia Education for putting this together. We were here on Wednesday. We were on the session on Wednesday, and I'm sure at the time my manager did talk about the University of Southampton and the things we are actually doing. And because of time also, I wouldn't want to, you know, stretch our time beyond what it is. I will just talk briefly about some of the things that the University of Southampton has been doing as relates to the 2020 recruitment year, you know, with the COVID-19 in perspective. Yeah, the university continues to be committed. We are committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of all our current and new students during these uncertain times. In fact, the moment the COVID-19 actually broke out in the UK and institutions, you know, the country was locked down, we had to move our lectures to online. And most of our students at the time actually received the remainder of their lectures for the session. Actually, they receive it online and they add their assessment as well online. We are hopeful that the lockdown will be lifted very, very soon, and students will be able to join us. In the light of that, September 28th had actually been set aside as the recruitment enrollment date for undergraduate students, which is inclusive of our foundation students as well. And you know, some of the challenges that the COVID-19 had thrown out, you know, affect admissions, affect the foundation options for the university, English language requirements, and all of these are actually being tackled by the university just to ensure that we do not create too much inconvenience for students who would be interested in coming to the university for their foundation. By the way, we run a 3 Shades of Foundation program, which is tagged the International Foundation Year. We have the Science Foundation Year, and of course, we have the Engineering Foundation Year. Now, each of these foundations provide progression to different courses, depending on the choice of student. And because of the status of the university in terms of our ranking, our entry requirements actually reflect on the entry, you know, they reflect on the quality of education that students will get, and of course, the ranking of the university. So for students considering coming to the University of Southampton, we'll be looking at 5 Ds in relevant subjects, including math and English. Anything below that, I may have to pass or run that through the admission officer or the faculty officer to be able to advise students effectively. But a minimum of 5 Bs in relevant subject, either for the engineering foundation, the science foundation, or the integrated, the international foundation here, is our entry requirement. Also, the foundation program we run is actually an integrated one. The implication of that is that students get an integrated CAS for their study, so they wouldn't need to apply for visa twice, you know, to get back on their program in the UK. So with one single CAS, they can apply for their visa, which covers the duration of the undergraduate study and their foundation study, all inclusive. That is, to a large extent, a good proposition for our students to consider. And there is the blended learning, which I mentioned earlier that we went into with COVID-19, at the outbreak of COVID-19. This implies that should students not be able to join us by September 28, which has been set for the enrollment date for undergraduate students, they will also be able to join start lectures via online platform, which until the time they are free to actually come and join the university. And I'm also aware that in the past, this past week, the UKBI actually made some release, which indicates that students who actually start their lectures online, they can actually try, you know, they can apply for their visa at any point to actually move on to the university for their study, as it were. So students will not really be losing out much when it comes to the blended learning option. Online learning, when it is not possible for them to travel to the UK, and then the moment it's possible for them to do that, they will not have lost much ground, as it were. And the reason why we have to also maintain the blended learning as an option is because we actually had to run a survey among our students, among our offer holders, to confirm what their options will be like among several options. And, you know, it turned out that most of the students would actually want, you know, to be on campus. They would like to have the, you know, the university experience. And so from the survey we did, it turned out that over 70% of our recipients would love to be on campus. And so, you know, it behooves us to ensure that we work in tandem with the desire of our offer holders, with our students, as it were, and ensure that we provide everything that in line with government instruction for social distancing and what have you. So basically, we are committed to having our program start on the September 28th, where students will not be able to join us due to travel restrictions from their home country. They could join the online, start with the online until it is okay for them to apply for visa, get their visa, and then come over to the University of Southampton. And I think basically that just says a lot in terms of the fact that they would not be missing out anything much, you know, if they decide to, due to the restriction, if they're unable to join the university on campus, since that would basically be the preference of most students. So let me not stretch that beyond that because of our time. I would hand over back to you, and you can continue with the remainder of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abiodun. So I would just like to say, so this is to all of our panelists. It's clear that you're all planning to reopen in September or October as normal, and run your face-to-face programs alongside virtual learning, platforms if need be. And it's also clear that you are all committed to providing a challenging curriculum for all your students. Abiodun mentioned something with regards to managing health and safety, on campus. And that's a question that, a few of our parents, would like to be touched on. They want to know, okay, so come September, where if students are, able to travel abroad, to resume classes, how will social distancing, protocols be observed? How will it be managed in lectures? Would you have smaller, like a smaller, a student body size in lectures? How will it be managed, in communal areas like canteens, etc.? Are you going to have temperature checks on campus? How are you going to ensure health and safety of students on campus in order to, minimize the risk of infection amongst, the student body, amongst everybody on campus? So the question is open to any of the panelists.
I think at the University of Southampton, we are committed to maintaining the safe distance, as it were. And that's going to be reflected in how the lectures are also delivered. Even though students are advised to come to Southampton, to resume for lectures, one of the plans that the university is coming up with is to ensure that we can group students, in a number of not more than 25, 30, and they are going to, like a team, who will be receiving lectures at different times, at the university, just to ensure that you do not have more than the stipulated number that government had approved for a group gathering. The same is going to be reflected even on staff who work at the university. At the moment, most of our staffs are actually working from home, and the university is not in a haste to have every staff back on campus until it is safe to have everybody on campus. Now, even for staff, we have actually had to come up with like a schedule to ensure that it's not everybody that is on campus. So for students, even though they will be in Southampton, for some of their lectures, it will still be delivered online. So they probably will just be at home, receive their lectures online, and then if they need to do assignments or come to the library, then apparently they can access those facilities at their own time, following the schedule that the university had provided for them at the time. So basically, and I'm sure this is peculiar to all universities because we are subjected to the government regulations. So if the government had stipulated that not more than a certain number of group of people can be assembled at a time, I am sure that most UK university or most universities would definitely ensure, would put in place protocols to ensure that those rules, those regulations are strictly adhered to. I don't know if any other colleague would want to chip in anything to that.
Yes, I'd like to add something just to support what Abiodun has said. So at Oxford International, we already maintain a small classroom size even before the pandemic, so as to ensure that the lecturers can focus on students 100%, but with the pandemic now, we are going to be dividing the amount of students that are able to attend each class, which also means that we will not be having all of our staff members on campus of all of our universities. That's Dundee, Greenwich, DMU, and Bangor University. We're cutting classroom size, even for students that for some reason will make it to the UK, but they don't want to come to class. They will still have access to their classes online. And we're also promoting the hygiene rule for everybody: wash your hands, use your masks. If you don't have access to soap and water, make sure you're always with your hand sanitizer
Thank you very much, Abiodun. The two Abioduns. Thank you so much for your input. So, I mean, you know, Nigerian families always like to receive information from the horse's.
You're on mute.
You're muted. Anne-Marie, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. So I was saying thank you so much to the two Abioduns for their input. And then I also said that Nigerian families always like to receive information from the horse's mouth. I mean, it's an obvious thing. You would expect institutions to adhere to public health guidelines and, you know, to implement hygiene and safety protocols on campus. But that's why we've organized this session, so that they can hear from you directly and know, you know, exactly what processes you have in place to ensure the health and safety of everybody. Okay. I will now move on to the next question. So we are all aware of the pandemic's financial impacts on individuals, you know, so whether it being some parents may have had to have pay cuts, some may have been relieved of their jobs, etc. Everybody, you know, this pandemic has had a significant impact on the economy. Now, we have parents who want to know if, you know, your colleges or universities will provide some sort of financial assistance, you know, in light of the pandemic. So would you be offering more scholarships? What is the eligibility criteria? Is it still merit-based? Or, you know, would you also have your automatic scholarships for international students? So that's just based on their fee status. Or, you know, would you also have financial aid, you know, through bursaries, you know? So anybody can answer that as well.
Hi, Theo here. Regarding that question, I mean, we know the situation, we understand it perfectly. Now, in terms of discounts and scholarships, yeah, as a foundation provider and a pathway provider, the study group offers discounts to students. I mean, for example, they can go up to £4,000. That's another example out of tuition fees. Some of our universities, I'll give an example, such as Huddersfield. We can, for instance, give you a £4,000 discount. And then once you graduate your foundation, you're automatically eligible for a £2,000 scholarship every single year of your bachelor's. That's just one of the examples. And we have many other universities that work with us that have the same scheme, really. So you just need to ask for a discount, obviously give a reason for why you need it, but it's not only academic based. It is not. You can also give us the financial background and say that we need help because of that, and that will be done. I just want to emphasize something else though. Whereas we know that the fees perhaps remain the same for an online course and on-campus course, the only difference is, keep in mind, apart from the discounts and scholarships, even if the fees of the online course is similar to the actual, is the same really as the on-campus course, you are paying actually for the time with the professors for the actual course. You're not paying for the facilities. Now, when I say you're not paying for the facilities, it is important to say that technically speaking, you're not going to be paying the same price. You don't need the money for the visa. You don't need the money for just the pocket money really for living expenses, and you're not paying for accommodation. So you're not paying for all of that. You're just paying for the actual course. So that's something that always you have to keep in mind. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Theo and Bertha. And Theo, yes, you're absolutely right. You know, you do save a bit on cost, you know, if you're studying virtually. I'm sorry, somebody wanted to say something.
I wanted to just add, my name is Declan. I'm with Kaplan International.
Hi, Declan.
I'm the market manager for the US and then for the UK. Now, basically, what Kaplan is doing, Kaplan is offering scholarships. Kaplan is offering scholarships, it's offering discounts. We're offering about 3,000. Yeah, we're offering about 3,000 for our UK schools. And some of our universities also are offering more than that. And some of them would have what is called progression scholarships. Now, these are to support students too. And then for some students would also be helping out with some of their CELT exams. For them that need to take CELT exams will be. Now, for some of our US schools, one of the institutions is giving 50% off the tuition fees at Simmons University. And the rest of the institutions give as much. It varies. Now, it still has to be academic based. So for a school like Arizona State University, gives up to 40%. That's why you have students that have get scholarships of 15,000 and as much as that. And then ASU has one cheap campus. It's a Lake Havasu campus. Now, the tuition fees for that campus is between $9,000 to $11,000. Now, on these $9,000 to $11,000, students can get scholarships ranging from $5,600 every year. They just need to meet up the certain academic requirements. So these are things that are prepared. So what we're doing, what the COVID is doing is where we would have been very strict to ensure that the CGPA we're looking for is 3.0. The COVID situation is saying, okay, he got 2.7. We can still offer this. Like one of the students going to Lake Havasu, she just picked up her I-20. She didn't qualify for a scholarship, but she was given $4,000. So that's what the COVID situation is making us to support families and parents and students to ensure that whatever is lost is still being able to, they're still able to pass through the academic situation and study. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Add quick, Anne-Marie, what Into is doing. So for the students who have been admitted to fall 2020, if they defer or if they have been admitted to the spring 2021 intake, if they confirm before the end of July, then we're offering what we're calling a confirm with confidence discount of, depending on the length of the pathway program, 20% off of the tuition, as well as additional scholarships. And that's going to depend on the university and what their overall tuition and fees are. But it would be an additional anywhere from, I've seen $1,000 to an additional $6,000 from some of the universities on top of that confirm with confidence discount of 10% or 20%, depending on the duration of that pathway program. So that's what Into is doing.
Thank you so much, Declan.
For us, really quickly.
Oh, sorry.
For us, really quickly, at the University of East London, sorry. Yeah, very quickly from the University of East London. This is a question that literally every parent that I've spoken to is, you know, we're in a crisis. What's the university doing in order to support? So the international scholarship is available and open to all our international students. So students can get anything from £1,000 to £4,000 off of their tuition fees at both undergraduate and postgraduate level. The good news is that they're not merit-based. All we need from the student is to supply us with a personal statement. So as short as 300 to 500 words as to why they deserve the scholarship, and they literally the turnaround time is literally like a week. So after a week after submission, we'll get back to them, awarding them that scholarship. So I think parents have definitely been finding that very, very you know, useful and very supportive to be able to kind of get that scholarship from this for their students.
Thank you so much, Bertha. Sorry, Laura, were you saying something else earlier?
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to say something.
Oh, Abiodun. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so like every other university, we're offering scholarship for the foundation year, the international year one stage as well. So students would be able to get automatically between £1,000 to £4,000 of their tuition fee. Although there's a deadline attached to this, and for most of our students, they would have to pay a fee deposit to secure the scholarship, anything from £1,000 to what's the fee deposit they are initially supposed to pay. But in the case where students have paid their fee deposit to secure a scholarship and they are unable to resume, there's opportunity for them to get a refund or to defer. For our centers, they offer progression scholarship as well. So for University of Dundee, students will be able to get between £2,000 to £5,000 every year of their fees if they are able to maintain a certain grade between, I think, 60 to 75%. At Bangor as well, we also have progression scholarship for students every year. So international students will be able to get £3,000 of their tuition fee every year. And we are now splitting that into their tuition fee and accommodation fee, depending on what the students want. And for our programs that we are moving online, so if there's any student that want to start online in October, they can also get 1/3 reduction from their fees. So we have a lot of scholarship and payment options available to students. All they just need to do is to ask which one they would prefer.
Thank you so much to all our panelists. Sorry, please go on.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to add, at Navitas Canada, we've also looked at the situation, and definitely we understand how finances can affect the decision for parents and students to continue their studies. And so for University of Manitoba, as well as Simon Fraser University in Canada, we've introduced or launched over 75 new scholarship opportunities. And this weren't available before now, but this was specifically to mitigate, against some of the financial losses that parents and students would have encountered. And these scholarships are academic based, as well as community, engagements at both schools. And the good thing about these scholarships is that students do not need to apply for these. They'll be awarded automatically, depending on their academic performances. And so, yes, just like other people said, they are paying for the instructions, the professors, the student support. Everyone is still giving the 101% to ensure that students have very good, more like the good experience. So the tuitions will still remain the same, but this over 75 new scholarship opportunities are there to, alleviate the financial burden for the tuition. And then for our US schools, we've also introduced $2,000 and above for students. This is not academic based. This just goes to every student that applies for the fall 2020 intake. Depending on the school and depending on the circumstance, students are guaranteed $2,000 of their tuition, and it could be even more than that. So yes, that's from Navitas.
Thank you very much, Ikena. So yes, it would definitely be very helpful, for parents, parents and students to receive some form of financial assistance, especially for those who are unable to afford the total cost of attendance in light of the current global crisis. So we are now coming to the end of the panel discussion. I would like to ask if any of our panelists have, any closing remarks or, any additional information that they would like to give before we call it a day.
If I can just add, just in terms for specifically more so like our U.S. partners, Pace University, Arizona State University, I just wanted to impress upon that they're really committed to creating that community of care and making sure that the students, when they are on campus, they feel supported and they feel safe, and that those parameters are being put into place. So I think that that's definitely a focus among all universities, I would imagine. And it just, ASU in particular had just published different information to that effect, and it's just really beneficial. And it's, I think it's something that students can move forward with confidence, and that they can move forward with confirming their place and submitting the applications, and knowing that they'll be taken care of, and that their health and their well-being is absolutely at the forefront.
Thank you so much, Amy. I don't know if anybody else has anything that they would like to add.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
Bertha and then Ikena.
Oh, Ikena, such a gentleman. Just for us at the University of East London, we're still in the business of supporting our students for the September intake. I know that we're, living in turbulent times, but, we're here working alongside Newbie Education to support and advise where there's any concerns. I'm available on WhatsApp, email, etc. So please feel free to contact us at any time, and we're able to hopefully support our students through the September 2020 journey. We're keeping positive and optimistic that things will fall in place by September, and of course continuing that channel of of communication to all our key stakeholders. So keep the questions coming, even after the presentation's over. If you have any questions, I'm sure somebody from Newbie Education will be able to direct your inquiries over to myself and my colleague Lide. So again, thank you so much. This has just been really, really incredible for us to kind of discuss and hopefully bring to light some of those concerns that you've had. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bertha. Ikena, over to you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So yes, thanks Newbie for organizing this. And just to add a little bit of information regarding some of the updates from Canada. Obviously, visas are a very big thing for students that intend to study in Canada. And, we advise students to take the opportunity of the lockdowns right now and the restrictions to try to apply as soon as possible. The Canadian Embassy, they accept online applications. The good thing is that you wouldn't refuse your application because you didn't provide your biometrics or medicals. So they give that allowance. So you are sure you're going to be ahead of the line because when we get over, there's going to be a very huge rush, for this. And we also at the school, yes, we understand students can join the digital campus. They don't even need a visa to be able to, join the digital campus. That's a very good thing for students who are looking in fall. So with or without a visa, you could start your studies, and applying for the visa, you're ahead of even your peers during this pandemic. And if perhaps you get a visa refusal before the fall intake, we have an avenue where you would be able to withdraw without any financial penalties to your funds that you've paid for that semester. However, the deadline is strict, and you should be able to keep track of that. So students can actually classes with or without the visa, apply for the visa early, be ahead of the crowd, be ahead of their peers in ensuring that at least the semester ahead. And this is a great opportunity to save costs. Yes, parents are talking about tuition discounts. Having your first or second semester, on flight costs and medical costs, and all those put together is a huge savings for parents and students. And the Canadian Embassy have been so kind, and they've brought up a policy that students can take up to 50% of their degree program online or remotely in their home country and still be eligible for the postgraduate work permit, which is 3 years upon graduation.
Wow.
So really a huge advantage for students, because you could actually spend 2 years studying online in your home country. That's year 1, year 2. Save all the living and accommodation expenses and all the insurance costs. On the 3rd year, you come to Canada, finish your 3rd and 4th degree, and still be eligible for the 3 years postgraduate work program. So yes, in as much as it financially, this is an avenue to actually, recalibrate, be able to refocus and plan, the outcome of studies. And at the same time, students are going to be finishing at the same time. So I think it's a very good opportunity for students at this time. So I think that's my finish.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ikena. And to be honest, that's one thing that we didn't really discuss was, the status on visa applications with regards to Canada. We all know that you have, students are advised to apply very, very early, about 3 to 4 months before before the start of their courses, you know, for their Canadian study permits. Obviously, this has been, affected by the pandemic, but you've given wonderful advice, you know, with regards to students should start preparing, you know, for the application, start putting your documents together so you are ahead of the rush, because really, you know, when the visa centers reopen, there is going to be a backlog, you know. So yes, thank you so much for that advice. It's also wonderful to know that the Canadian the Canadian government, you know, will allow international students to qualify for the postgraduate work permit, even if they complete 50% of their course online. So that's, you know, that's really wonderful to hear. Like we discussed previously, you're saving a lot on costs, you know, so, you know, that's a good one. Okay, so we've now come to the end of the panel discussion. I would like to say thank you to all our parents and students who logged on to the session. I'm sure you found the session very enlightening and insightful and informative. I would also like to say a very big thank you to our panelists for your time today and for providing us with all the updates concerning your individual institutions. I'm now going to pass on to the Newbie Education Executive Director, Mrs. Omonobi.
Yeah. Am I on now?
Yes, you are, Ma.
Okay, thank you all for coming today to this session, especially our partners that spent your time to come and talk to us today. Thank you to our parents and students who are connected to this session. We're very happy to have you today. And we hope that all your questions have been answered. We are very happy that you made very useful contributions today that will also give our parents the reassurance that Canada, US, UK are safe places to study. That was a very good one. Just to let you know that this session is, this information session is recorded. So we're going to be sending you the recordings. For those that are here and those that have registered and for one reason or the other is not able to attend, we'll be sending you the recordings. And also to let you know that we can arrange meetings, virtual meetings with our partners in case you want to talk to them one-on-one. I think that is useful. So you can get to us and we'll be able to arrange that for you. If you have a good income, I'm talking to the parents now, you have a good income and you have a very good job, but you cannot put your school fees, you cannot pay your school fees upfront. We have an arrangement. We are in partnership with FCMB, which is one of the leading banks in Nigeria with 200 branches and over 3.7 million customer base. They'll be able to assist financially if you know you need financial help and you have very good source of repayment. You know that the banks always look for a source of repayment. So if you fit into that, you can't pay your fees upfront and you need like a bridging finance, approach FCMB for that. So we have come to the end of this thing. We just want to reassure you as an agency that we are committed to maintaining honest and enduring relationships with our parents and with our partners. And we say thank you to our parents, existing parents. Your word of mouth publicity has contributed immensely to our success rate. And we are happy to be part of your world success rate as well. Now that you've heard from the horse's mouth, as we say, the door is open now for applications. We want the applications rolling now. We want the applications rolling, and we wish you all the best as you go through this pandemic. Thank you very much for your time today, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Ma. So thank you to all our panelists again. Thank you to our parents and students, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.